Pika Pika Pika, he's adorable.
You're adorable. They can't understand me, kid.
So Pokemon Detective Pikachu officially comes out today, and I had the chance to see it last night. So as a huge movie buff and obviously a fan of Nintendo and video games, I wanted to share my thoughts on the movie. Without spoiling anything, I will not be giving out any spoilers. For those of you who only know us by our voices, my name is Erickson. James is not here with me today because 1, we don't live in the same place, 2, he didn't get to see the movie yet, so I'm gonna be doing this by myself. I'm not gonna make this too long. I'm just gonna break it up into the good stuff and then the bad stuff, and then give my overall rating out of 10. 10 stars, 10 Thunderbolts, 10 whatevers. Also, I have a lovely Pikachu face here. I thought I'd put my computer to good use while I record this. Wow, okay. So let's start with the good. What I personally loved most about this movie, and which is also a huge relief, were the Pokemon and the Pokemon world itself. You could already see it from the trailers that came out, but even after watching the trailers, it was really nice to see that they took care of this world and they made the Pokemon look as realistic as they could without going too weird and bizarre like Sonic did. With maybe a couple of exceptions that really also weren't too big of a deal, pretty much all the Pokemon looked the way you would want them to if they made a Pokemon movie that was set in the real world. I think anyone who's ever enjoyed Pokemon in their life is really going to be happy about that aspect of it, that they did a very good job bringing these Pokemon to life. But let's talk about the main Pokemon that this movie revolves around, which is of course Pikachu, or Detective Pikachu. Again, you've seen it in the trailers. Pikachu is adorable, even though he does have a grown man's voice. I think at first I was a little hesitant when I realized Ryan Reynolds was cast as Pikachu, just because I wasn't cool with Pikachu having a voice at all. But I actually do think Ryan Reynolds was a good choice, and I think maybe it is because a lot of people recognize the voice as Deadpool's voice. I think that kind of helps adults to enjoy it more also. There's a lot of that Ryan Reynolds-esque humor in it, which I actually really enjoyed. I think he does a really good job keeping it from getting too cheesy or keeping it from getting too obnoxious. I thought his dynamic with Justice Smith, the main character human boy, also worked really well. There were a few times in the movie where I was trying to watch Justice Smith's eye line just because I was curious about where they would have him look when they were actually filming it, because he obviously wasn't talking to Pikachu. But I thought he did a really good job working opposite a CGI character. I'm not 100% sure how they do that stuff, but he handled it well, and he held his own against Ryan Reynolds, and I thought they worked well together, and I really liked their dynamic, which is a good thing because the movie follows those two the entire time, obviously. I thought the movie in general looked really good. I thought it was shot really well for the most part. The music was very fitting. They had a few recognizable Pokemon themes, I think. I probably should have said this earlier. I'm not the biggest Pokemon fan. I did play the old games. I know a little bit more about the first 2 generations. Not much more after that, except for what I've seen in Smash Bros. So you guys can get mad at me in the comments if I've missed a lot of stuff. But even the original music they had with the film, I thought was very video game-esque, and it made it more fun, and overall, I think they just did a very good job mixing this world we know from video games with the real world, which is something almost no video game movies have accomplished successfully. So that was probably the biggest positive I took away from this film. I think this movie was a big step for movies based on video games. I think it proves that a video game movie doesn't have to be garbage. So the issues I think it has is not the fault of incorporating this video game world into the real world portrayed on a movie screen. That being said, I did have some issues with this movie, so let's go over the bad now. Just as a warning, you can still love this movie no matter the bad things I say about it. I'm just sharing my opinion. I am very into films, so I can be a harsh critic at times. I'm not trying to drag on Pokemon or insult anybody's tastes. We're just having a conversation. Anyway, I think the biggest problems were with the script. Some of the plot points kind of got messy, especially toward the end. A lot of things that were happening were very bonkers, even for Pokemon standards or even for video game standards. Again, I'm not gonna spoil anything, so that's all I'm gonna say about that for now. And also, this movie is supposed to be a mystery. It's called Detective Pikachu. They are investigating things, and I think a lot of the mysteries of the plot unraveled very conveniently for the characters, which can often happen in a kids movie. Not saying that this is strictly a kids movie, because obviously a lot of people in their 20s and 30s are gonna go watch this movie, which is great. But you know what I mean. I think the script used a couple of the characters to just spew plot points from their mouths like throw up, instead of having us figure it out for ourselves, or for the audience and also Pikachu and the main character to figure out in more interesting ways. And then somewhat because of that, there were a lot of places, especially again toward the end, that felt very rushed, very kind of choppy, and sort of like they were trying to just wrap the story up and get things over with. So I wish they had spent more time playing with the mystery aspect more and having more fun with it, because again, this movie proved that the Pokemon world is the one that they created works really well in this movie. So I wanted to spend more time here, and I wanted to spend more time with these characters and watch their journey unfold, but I don't think they allowed for that regularly enough because of the issues with the writing. I wish I could say more, but again, I don't want to spoil anything. I'm gonna keep to that promise. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it my rating out of 10, which is 7. Again, I did have my issues with it, and some of them were too big for me to get over, but I do think they did a very good job translating the Pokemon world of the video games into a movie. That was a lot of fun to watch. I thought they did that very well. The main characters were great. Detective Pikachu was great, and that's about it. I hope you guys can get a chance to see this movie this weekend. If you do want to talk about it in depth, because I'd prefer you leave spoilers out of the comments below, we do have a temporary Detective Pikachu spoiler chat in our Discord server, which you can find the link to that in the description. If you're at least 13 and you know how to use Discord, you can go there and we can talk about it there. But other than that, before I go, since we're on the topic of me reviewing a movie for you, I just wanted to give a quick note on that channel we announced a while back that some of you know about, called Erickson Cinematics, which was meant to be our film channel. As it turns out, juggling 2 YouTube channels is pretty hard. As much as I love talking film and I really want to do stuff on that channel, it just wasn't the right time to start it up, so that channel is on a hiatus. We're completely focused on Erickson Gaming right now. Maybe some point down the line we can bring that channel back to life, because I would love to. But even if we do that, Erickson Gaming is not going anywhere. We're here to stay, and I think that's about it. Hopefully I didn't babble too much. Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, goodbye.